Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Exodus here. Thanks for watching. Today's video is a WarrenGate power plant challenge mode run. This is from a couple weeks back now, and obviously this is before the 1.1 update that's going in tomorrow. I figured in this particular video I'd talk about my build, kind of my play style, and so on and so forth, since a lot of people like to know what other people are doing, kind of how they view the game in regards to building their character within their gear and talents and perks and stuff like that. So in this particular run, it's pure matchmaking. Obviously, as you saw, I loaded in and met up with these people. I don't know if they were together as a team before or if everyone was, random to each other or what. But as time has gone on and gear has progressed, these missions have gotten easier and easier. This was, like I said, this was a pretty smooth run in a decent amount of time. So yeah, it was good. It was good matchmaking. So as far as my particular playstyle and build, I focus on tank first, and my definition of tanking is different than a lot of people's definition of tanking in this particular game, because some people feel that in order to tank you have to utilize a shield or that mobile cover, stuff like that, to be in the forefront and taking all the shots and so on and so forth. And yeah, granted, I agree that when you do stack your health, you want to be the one taking the fire, taking the shots, but also for me, tanking is just purely simple staying alive. Being a tank, being the most reliable person in the fray, being able to take the most punishment, being able to be there for your teammates in every facet. Now I know that ties into support as well, so I guess my build would best be described as a hybrid, because I generally like to run the tank build. As far as my health is what my main focus is, I do balance it with DPS, and my skill power is suffering, but it's not terrible. And then I like to utilize the healing abilities. In this particular run, you see I have the survivor link, defensive ability up, and that's because the other people, I want to play and adjust to what the other people I'm matching up with are. I don't want to have all the same abilities as them, and I don't want to utilize the same super, since we already have 2 healing, recovering link abilities. I don't want to, do that. And the tactical link is good, high DPS, but however, when you're playing with people you don't know, it's good to keep them alive, so that's why I use the survivor link. Use that rather than boost their DPS. I want to boost their survivability, because I didn't know again how well geared they were, and how familiar they were with the particular mission. So normally, like I said, when I run with friends and stuff like that, or just solo, because I do a lot of solo play, obviously the daily hard modes I do solo, and a lot of dark zone I do solo, stuff like that. So if I run in like a low number group, so duos and trios, stuff like that, I generally do tend to do the recovery link, so I can revive people. Since I'm tanky, I'm most likely the last one alive, or the one taking the most damage, or able to take the most damage and stay standing. So the people I run with are generally DPS and or skill power builds, stuff like that, so they tend to go down a lot easier and more frequently than I do. So it just makes sense to have that revive capability. And then healing as well. In this particular, challenge modes, I like to run the, healing station with the ammo, so my DPS can be sustained. I can constantly reload and have that regeneration aspect. But in the solo runs and stuff like that, I just use, the general heal with overdose, or the one that gives you the damage boost and damage resistance. The reason I do that is because challenge mode, obviously it affects more people, and again, like I said, it's sustained DPS, because you do need more DPS in challenge mode, because the enemies are a lot harder than in any other facet of the game, with the exception of dark zone. Dark zone, I still use the heal ability, the basic heal ability in the level 32 enemies, DZ05, 06, because it's just more sufficient. Plus, you obviously have the notion of PvP being able to break out at any given time. So I like to use the sticky dead blind nade in challenge modes, because obviously you don't want people rushing, and you want to be able to pop them out of cover, just like you just saw there, so you can get more DPS on them, whether it's for yourself or for the snipers, etc. Glass cannons in your group. But in Dark Zone and such like that, I generally use scan now. I did use sticky debt with the bleed effect just because I want to be able to do the max amount of damage as possible and hinder them from being able to do a lot of other things if you do get the bleed proc. You know, I still tend to use it time to time, but since my skill power, like I said, isn't the highest, I use scan to help do my sustained DPS, because recently, you know, with the changes in the Dark Zone, and especially with Tuesday's changes to the Dark Zone, or April 12th, you know, the 1.1 update, you're going to have a lot more chaos going on, and a lot more people that you probably run into situations where you're outnumbered. So scanning is, you know, takes a wider effect and has a longer lasting, you know, duration than the sticky debt. So sticky debt is good for the initial boom, you know, surprise attack or the big dealing in damage, but however, when you do the scan, you know, it's just constant. So the sticky debt, it hits them, they can just heal, and it negates the effect essentially, especially if they have a, you know, gear component that when they use their med kit, it completely erases the bleed effect. So having the scan, you know, that can't be taken off by anything that they do, unless they have, you know, I mean, there's things out there that they can avoid it, but for the most part, you know, if you're in a fight and it's PvP and PvE at the same time, you know, you have NPCs around, so, and then you have, you know, players, other agents around, the sticky debt's going to be less effective than a scan, because a scan can outreach farther, it's going to hit all of them, so you're going to have your increased DPS crit, whatever you know, you decide to use for your scan mod. But yeah, so again, like I said, I'm more of a hybrid. I'm a tank and healer at the same time. Like I said, I boosted my DPS up quite a bit because, you know, I want to be able to deal damage if I am the last one alive, to be able to get to revive, you know, down teammates, or to, you know, essentially solo as well. So when I do those aspects. So I think right now with my current build, I'm at like 125.5k DPS on my, you know, main weapon, and then I'm at 126.5k health, and then I think my skill power is like 10.5k or something like that. So like I said, my skill power is very, very low for a lot of people, but it's not terrible. Obviously a lot of people you know, have higher, but they don't have near that DPS or health balance. Some people are higher than that. I haven't really spec'd out everything and, you know, got in the nitty gritty with a lot of algorithms and trying to re-roll stuff 100 times, things like that. I just kind of slowly, incrementally adjusted what I felt was necessary, you know, got what I wanted to do, and just mainly focused on playing the game. That's the other thing, the downfall I saw with this particular setup prior to the new update is, it seems like, you know, you're more so stuck at the crafting table in the base of operations to get your upgrades, rather than actually completing the, you know, higher difficulties and tasks of the game itself to get your rewards. So I'm looking forward to hopefully that being changed within this update, which it looks like it is, where it's more focused on the things you do by actually playing the game and completing the game, rather than sitting at a table and getting the RNG based gifts of upgrades. So when that comes into play, I know for sure I'll be able to enhance myself even more, because like I said, I like to rather play the game and challenge myself rather than, you know, put myself at the whim of an RNG crafting table for my gear upgrades and stuff like that. So progression to me is actually completing stuff and going forward with the content, rather than, you know, taking a step aside, you know, grinding the content, taking a step aside, and then, you know, doing that foray. So yeah, it's been fun. It sucks as of late for me, because a lot of the people that I anticipated getting the game and playing the game with, they've either quit playing or they just haven't really had the time to put in because other stuff has come up. And it was weird, because initially I was highly worried about who to be able to play with and having room and, you know, a 4-man team. And then it literally dwindled down to pretty much a 2-man squad. For the most part. I mean, we get 3 a lot, but what went from, you know, 8 to 12 people potentially rotating in and out, mixing, matching together, went down to like 2 to 3. And it wasn't because of the game's fault. For the most part, it's just, like I said, a lot of people had other priorities come up in their lives, or, you know, stuff came up in their schedules that deterred them from being able to put time into the game that they wanted. And granted, they're going to come back, and especially after the updates, I know a lot of people are excited for that. So hopefully they'll be able to find time in the near future to get back into playing. A lot of people got to level 30, some didn't. So it's just one of those things that, you know, you never know what happens, you know, such is life. I've been able to put a lot of time in, and it's been fun. You know, I've enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the new stuff, and I hope to continue to, you know, escalate and build as the game, you know, continues to build. You know, so, you know, a lot of people out there, you know, like I said, have differing styles, differing ways of playing the game, and I think it is really, really good that they have it the way it is. Like, there's so many decisions you have to make. There's so many different aspects you can focus on. There really is no two people that should be identical. Now, granted, skill abilities, wherever you can run, you know, so I play on console, I'm on Xbox One, so your LB, RB, and then your LB, RB combination skills can definitely be identical to everybody else. Everyone can use those same three things, or, you know, whatever. A lot of people can be in common with that. However, the way those actually react and behave are going to be completely different based on people's skill power, talents, perks, you know, etc. So I love the idea that, again, there's so much diversity that you can put into your character and, you know, be, you know, different, unique from everybody, kind of like the real world, right? Everybody has their own thoughts, opinions, experiences. No one person is the same as the next person. You know, you can dress the same, you can talk the same, but in reality, you know, you're completely different still in a lot of ways. So that's what I like about The Division, is it makes you think, it makes you really analyze your aspects of how you want to go about playing, what role you want to fill, what you want to do within the world in regards to, you know, being full on just death and destruction, being, you know, the healing aspect rebuilder, or, you know, just all those different aspects of, you know, the security, medical, and electronics. So, you know, there's all those focuses. And for me, I haven't even cleared my map yet. There's a lot of things I didn't find, a lot of things I didn't craft as well, as far as, you know, weapons, gear that is just left out there because I didn't feel it necessary to waste materials, because I just don't use certain things like shotguns right now. I haven't really used them, but I am probably going to start playing with them a bit, since I am more of a close quarters, you know, aggressive player in the dark zone. I have a feeling that it's going to be a little more efficient to use something like that that's high damage, close range, when I'm, you know, moving around, juking around, getting around people for PvP, stuff like that. Currently, you know, I stick with the SMG assault rifle, because SMG, obviously the primary, seems to be like the best version of gun in the game currently. Provides me the most DPS, and then assault rifle is the backup because it's the closest thing to the SMG. And running double SMGs obviously you're gonna run into an ammo crisis. So having the, you know, the backup as an assault rifle for me helps me out, because again, with these in PvE, I like to try to stay at mid to long range, rather than getting too up close and personal. Obviously PvP, it's totally different, but at the same time, having that quick rate of fire and a lot of ammunition to pour into someone real quick still bodes well for me. And so I don't know, like I said, I'm going to try out some more close quarters weapons in the future, but currently I do not use stuff like that. So like LMGs as well, snipers, like in the alpha and beta, I used those a lot. That was my secondary weapon all the time. You know, I love them, but I found that having, like I said, two quick firing, high velocity weapons suited me better overall in both PvE and PvP. One thing I love about this game as well is the fact that your build can transition across the board. Again, I know a lot of people that have PvP builds and PvE builds. They like to differentiate it, keep them separated, but for me, I have one build, and that's it as far as, you know, my gear. I don't have different gear I rotate in and out. I don't have different weapons I rotate in and out. I don't have You know, obviously I talked about the abilities. I do rotate those in and out because obviously if I'm matchmaking or running with friends, they're gonna have, I want to be different than them. And challenge modes, like I said, behave a little different than the dark zone and so on and so forth. So those I do kind of keep different here and there. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I run the same thing across the board. But like I said, gear-wise, weapon-wise, talent-wise, I run everything the same across the board. Stick to that, so I'm not always swapping in and out or, you know, worrying. It's a seamless transition from one activity to the next and be like, okay, you want to do this? All right, sweet, let's do it. And I don't have to worry about, like I said, cycling things in, wasting time doing that. I can just jump right in from one activity to the next, do work, and maintain a high level of gameplay. Now, I don't fault anyone else for doing the other thing. Like, I probably am going to do that because rather than building a whole another character and trying something different, I'll probably just, you know, switch to a different type of complete, you know, gear set, weapon set, whatever, just to try it out, test it out. You know, I can see the desire for other characters. There are benefits, but for me personally, it's not something I want to do. I'm too involved with the game, the progression of it, and wanting to be, you know, get better. And it seems like there's always that potential there. So I don't want to waste time building a second, third, or fourth character when I can just focus on the one and do everything with that one character. Now, the huge benefits and obviously the differences that people are going to argue and that I definitely agree with is, you know, dailies and, you know, the weeklies. Now with the incursions coming in, you know, you only get the one weekly big reward, and then after that it's, you know, to a lesser extent or something like that. You know, having multiple characters for that is awesome, but the fact that you can grind challenge modes as it is now without having to swap characters, swap gear, you know, whatever, transfer stuff around, you can just grind them. You know, yeah, you're getting less probably per time, but at the same time it's like, oh well, whatever. You know, you can reach a cap, so it's not that big of a deal. You know, you just transition at your own pace, because with those more characters, you're in essence spending more of what you earn. Whereas if you just have the one, you know, you're getting them, the Phoenix credits, at a less frequent rate, but you're not spending them at near as a frequent rate either, so it's going to last you longer. And like I said, transitioning from one to the next, having a completely different build and having to, you know, adjust your style. It's cool for some people. Like I said, they get to try different things out, but for me, I'd rather just do it all within one character. And again, I don't really want to change my playstyle either, so just one character is enough for me at the moment. I'm really looking forward to the gear set stuff as well. The only thing I'm worried about is it seems like one gear set is significantly stronger than the rest and is going to be the one that everyone's going to want to use. The sniper one looks cool. Obviously the dark zone one, you know, the nomad looks cool. The electronic one looks cool. All those are awesome. They have their own unique abilities and they're going to come in handy. They're definitely situational. But the, you know, the soldier-esque type one where your damage increases or whatever, it seems like everyone can benefit from that no matter what their build is. Everyone's going to want to use that because whether it's they want to maintain their high DPS output being a glass cannon, or they want to help balance out their DPS to bring it up to par because they're a tank or because they're more focused on skill power, everyone can jump into that, use it, and be a benefit of it because it's singular. It doesn't rely on your teammates, whereas the skill power one looks like it relies on your teammates. So obviously you can cut out solo players, duo players probably even, because it requires a certain amount of DPS to be done, and obviously 4 people is going to benefit you a lot more than, you know, 1, 2. You're going to be able to reach that pinnacle and reach that peak. The sniper one's going to be huge for those particular individual players, but like again, as far as it being a benefit to your whole team and stuff like that, it's a little sketchy, and like I said, it's more of a singular role. Whereas, you know, it's just pure snipers. And then the nomad one, kind of same thing. It's kind of hit or miss. It's individual build for individual role almost, and doesn't really apply across the board. So again, the two that actually can be universal, in my opinion, are the striker one and then the tactician one. So those are the two that I might look at because it'll help balance out my DPS, raise that up in relation to my health and tank, even though my DPS and health are fairly equivalent number-wise right now. And then the tactician one, like I said, since my skill power is so low, it would make the most sense to use that to help boost that up. But at the same time, you know, like I said, I'm running solo or duo most of the time, you know, sometimes trio. So the fact that I have to rely on that, you know, team damage output in order to really get the best benefit is kind of sketchy in my opinion. But again, you know, like I said, the argument to the striker one is everybody can use it no matter what their build is. They're going to benefit from it. They don't have to rely on anybody else, and it benefits their whole team because if they're doing more DPS, it's going to help their team out, stay alive longer, kill faster, progress faster, so on and so forth. So I think that one's the most powered one, and I realize the gear sets, the whole intent is to individualize it, you know, make it a singular focus, and they did that very well on the, you know, 3 of them it seems like, but that one, it just seems so universal that that's going to be the main one everybody wants. And the new loot system, or loot trading system, to where, you know, you can trade within your teammates who are with you during your activities and stuff like that. I don't see anyone giving up those pieces unless they already have that particular piece, because again, like I said, it can help them at every time, and they're going to want to save it even if they don't primarily use it. They're probably going to, you know, want to at least have it so they can use it, you know, in other situations, because again, it's universal no matter what the build. So that one's, I think, is going to be the most sought after, the striker one. And then after that, you know, it's going to be a real toss-up, because again, it definitely just depends on your build, your role, what you want to do, how you want to feel. Yeah, as far as, so to touch on a couple more of the new things coming in, assignments, supply drops, stuff like that, I'll go into that. My build, I think, is going to be suitable for all those things. Obviously, assignments are universal, anyone can do them. It's just going to be kind of like a, you know, weekly, daily quest type deal that you see in a lot of other RPG, MMO style games. The supply drop thing, I think that's going to be a little sketchy, because I haven't saw too much footage on it. You know, obviously the trailer just came out today, so it's going to be new to everybody, but you kind of got a gist of what it was going to be like in the trailer. And the fact of it might potentially be easy to indicate where they're at for everybody, rather than more of a random source. And, you know, if it's at set fixated positions and you learn those positions, you know, it's going to put, I don't know, it's going to kind of draw away from the rest of the Dark Zone, in my opinion. But if it's truly random and it can happen anywhere, and it's a completely randomized event like that, then that would be awesome. Then that's going to keep everybody on their toes, you know, move the traffic everywhere. Whereas if it's fixated locations, people can just sit and camp on it, certain ones, or be nearby, and then, you know, those areas are obviously going to be more populated than the rest of the Dark Zone. So I could see that kind of being a good thing and a bad thing. You know, it's going to give a lot of incentive to go wild and do big plays, because, you know, obviously you're going to be dealing with the NPCs and other agents. So like I said earlier, the PvE and the PvP aspect being mixed, in regards to like scan being more effective or whatever, it's going to be effective for me as a tank, because say right now, I don't, well, as I said, it might have been announced, but I haven't seen it, where all I know is whoever gets the loot, whatever team gets the loot, person gets the loot, they get that loot, no one else can get it from the supply drop. So my thing is, if you can just go and grab it at any time, then, you know what I'm saying, you block everybody else out, and that's what it is. If you have to clear all the NPCs before it can be open, or do something else before it can be open, that's going to be a whole nother, you know, wrench in the mix. So say it happens the first way, you just have to grab it somehow. You know, you just have to get to it, pick it up. That's going to kind of take away from the intent, in my opinion, because if it's meant to cause chaos, cause a bunch of decision making, cause a bunch of fighting, you know, stuff like that, I don't think it's going to do that. What it's going to do is it's going to cause everybody to pop their survivor links. You know, more tank classes like me, or tank builds, I should say, are going to be able to utilize our health and just rush in and grab it. Because once we grab it, we have it. Even if we die, you know, whatever, we still have it. We don't have to extract. You know, our teammates will have the drops there on the floor still, I'm guessing. That's how it operates, just like every other loot chest or crate or whatever that you open up, it pops up for your teammates. So if that is the case, it's just going to be a rush job. It's not going to, it may not truly give the play style environment that they're hoping to accomplish. So I really do hope that either I really do hope it's truly randomized, so not anybody can just sit on it and camp on particular locations to give themselves an advantage. I hope it's rare enough that you can still enjoy the rest of Dark Zone. People are still going to actually be doing other activities that we've gotten accustomed to and used to so far. And I hope that you either, again, have to clear out all the NPCs, or you have to do some other little ordeal prior to being able to reach it or open it. The rush is going to be awesome either way, but again, I can just see the survivor link, everybody popping it and abusing their tank builds to just rush in, grab it, and bail, or whatever. So that's the thing I'm worried about in regards to supply drops, but I like the addition. I think it's very well needed. It's going to be a whole new element, a whole new level. It's going to raise just the intensity tenfold in my opinion, because I never really PvP'd too much. I like to kill rogues. I don't like to go rogue, just because I'm generally like to see myself as a good guy. So kill the quote-unquote bad guys in the game is just more my idea. I want to help protect people from being bullied, so on and so forth, and not allow their experience to be ruined. So kind of just go along with the lore of the game, the story of the game, be the agent, be the good dude. And besides, I know what it's like to be the solo player. So, I want to protect those people from being jumped all the time, whether I'm with a group or solo myself. I want to, help detract that mentality of, oh, we have the numbers, let's jump, these people or this person. So it's just, like I said, I identify more with being the agent and killing the rogues. However, as of late, I realize there's going to be a lot more PvP, whether I'm, somehow go accidentally rogue, or just rogue. There's going to be more rogues in general because of the update. So I've intentionally tried to engage in more PvP. I've tried rogue out a little more, just sparingly, but as of, last night, so Sunday, the Sunday prior to the update, I decided, I had a couple friends on, so okay, let's do this, where we just kill anything that moves, so there's NPCs, slay them, get the XP. If there's rogues, kill rogues, or if there's even other players around, just full out, go full bore, and so we get more PvP practice. So I've intentionally placed myself in PvP situations as of late, because I know it's going to be more of a thing, and I want to get better at it. I want to improve. I want to test out, if my build held up. I want to test out, other tactics to use. So it's really helped progress my game, progress my awareness, and stuff like that. Because one thing about myself is I really know the Dark Zone extremely well. I've been playing since the alpha, so DZ 1 and 2, like, cake. Learning 3, 4, 5, and 6 was a lot easier than expected, because 5 and 6 are pretty small. 3 and 4, and just generally kind of a bigger layout as well, so it's not as much they kind of have to worry about. There's easy to, landmarks, or easy just positions that differentiate themselves from one another to be able to know where you're at all times. And just in general, it's how my mind works, so it's always easier to picture it and know it, learn it, memorize it, and go from there. And I know it's different for everybody, so for me it's helped. Like I said, have the tank build, be able to go anywhere, do anything, survive for a lot longer period of time. So yeah, the supply drops I think are going to be great. The other enhancements that they have with the Dark Zone assignments, I'm curious to see what they are going to do with those. I'm unaware of exactly what it is. Probably still going to tie into like killing X amount of things, or getting X amount of stuff, or opening X amount of chests, or whatever. Clearing landmarks, killing names, stuff like that. I think I'm going to look forward to it and have fun with it. Maybe killing X amount of rogues, or going surviving so many rogues, or whatever. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Like I said, I'm still enjoying the game, love the game, and appreciate you watching. Like I said, let me know if you do watch this whole video what your build is, kind of how you like the game, or what you plan on doing in the future. And feel free to hit me up if you want to play sometime. Thanks again. Peace.
Power generator stabilized.
Well, nothing's exploded, and that siren stopped, so looks like we're good. I got an engineering team already mobile. They can finish up at the plant. Nothing left for you to do, so I guess you can roll out.